The balance was just excellent. Did you touch the brake all weekend long?
I actually touched the brake the very first run twice, and I was a little worried about it. But it's notorious in Louisville to try to take you to that left hand corner,
Oh yeah.
and so we kind of didn't really want to do that. But it was a 1 lane street out of there on Thursday night. We were all coming off that left hand sideline, splitting tracks left and right, and I no denying it. I had a golden opportunity there. And as a puller, if the track gets to sit for a long time, you start just licking your lips. And
Sure.
I'm sitting there, and unfortunate for the show, the smoke tube broke. And when they went to fix the smoke tube, John Link was on the line, and I'm sitting in the hole, and John went to come off the line, and I hated it for John. He just couldn't get it to go. He had a clutch malfunction. I could tell when he went to spool it the first time, and it wouldn't hold it back. I was like, oh no, he's got an issue, and so he got to sit even longer. And I wish he could have made the run, but we were there to capitalize on an opportunity right after that. And my brother jumped up on there and told me what I already knew, because, like I said, pullers know. And he said, we're in the catbird seat right here. Here's a cherry. We better make it happen. And we taking a guess, on our weight package. He made a little bit different move from what we had last year, and went out there. We didn't move the sled from where John had it. He was kind of in the center. There was a little valley out through there where it had been dipped out. And I brought her up to what I thought I needed to start coming off the clutch, and tried to get with it pretty quick. And when it left, I knew I had a lot of momentum inside. Just didn't know how far it'd carry me. So I touched the brake, and once I touched the brake, it shot out like a rocket. And then we just climbed a pile. So there's nothing like putting in the sand in Freedom Hall. I'll tell you, from a pulling perspective. I've had some big wins. I've swept Freedom Hall or Louisville with a mob before, but we've been in some big stages. But when you put it in the sand on in Freedom Hall with a Red International, or even the John Deere, that place just comes alive. I can't tell you what the feeling's like. I've got people I don't know just pointing at me, beating on glasses of sweets, and just everybody's erupting, and that's a feeling I'll never forget.
You talk about parking it in the beach on Thursday night. We've got a video of that run, and I'm going to show it. And I want you to kind of break it down and analyze it after we see it. But I also want you to talk about, you've got several people at the end of the track showing a huge amount of emotion, and it's not just the track and the fans that come to life, but your team was full of passion and was on a mission this weekend. Let's take a look at this run really quick. It gives me goosebumps every time I see it. And then you can kind of tell us about, just the reaction that everyone's got here. So this is from Thursday night, taking it all the way to the sand pile. The fist bumps, the getting the crowd on their feet, the reaction from your brother and your teammates, and even you and yourself. What did they run up to you and say to you? What was going through your mind when you did that?
I can't tell you what they said. I just know what they were feeling. It was the same thing I was feeling. We work real hard on these things, and we're fierce competitors, and we don't know a whole lot about these diesels. That's really what we got in the class for, was a new challenge, something different. And pro stocks, they're just full of sharks. You look at the lineups every night, and that was rough. So we were honestly, we knew we can compete, but we didn't consider ourselves among the elite in there. We were just saying we're coming to give them our best shot, but obviously we walked away in a little different fashion. But whenever you put it in that sand, I've already said it there's no other feeling. I've never put anything in the sand in Freedom Hall. I've always dreamed of it. But one thing about it is the diesels, we're used to, alcohol Hemis, and you can kind of feather the throttle on, kind of ease them back, and it'll keep going. But with the diesel, you pull back a little bit, she's done. So me and my brother and my dad, we've been talking about it just a run thing. And right or wrong, they were making us put it in there this whole week. And I said, shoot, I'm not backing out until I can touch it. I said, if we put it on top, that's just fine. So we got it deep in there, and we were tickled with it. But my brother right there, like I said, he eats, sleeps, and breathes this stuff. He doesn't really get to go racing with us that much, but he really loves tractor pulling. And me and my dad, we love going with him. We just go racing a lot too. So he's I really wish his would have been out there and done it too. But to see his excitement, that just no other feeling like that. But whenever they came up to me, whew, it's almost makes you, we're so excited, it makes you want to cry. And we don't really cry. So it's just that place is special.
So you've talked about your brother's reaction. You've talked about your father's reaction, and it takes a team. You guys are, your team Shelton Motorsports. I mean, sitting right there on your Facebook page, it's on your hat. A team that's endeavored into a lot more than just, these pro stocks right here. And we'll definitely talk about your ventures in drag racing and your roots in pulling too. But I do want to show this photo that we have from Saturday night in the winner's circle, and just kind of talk to us about, who all is here, and tell us about maybe Chaos Fabrication and the role that they play in it as well. Because I think we can kind of go down the line. This almost reads like a who's who in the world of Saturday night on Louisville. So we've got Colin Ross in here. We've got Kevin Campbell. We've got your entire family. What's it like just being surrounded by such a great group of people?
Well, when we decided to go in this pro stock adventure, my dad, luckily we have a bunch of friends in the pulling world. My dad's very, very connected, and we reached out to a couple different people, and we kind of came to the conclusion that we wanted to be a little bit different, and not necessarily run a big block deer. And there was only one place to go at that point.
Sure.
We liked Rhett. We had hung out with Rhett quite a bit at some pools, and we just knew at that point that we wanted a nice looking piece. I believe they had come out with El Nino that year, and
sure, yeah,
we had got the start, or the new El Nino, but we started. Me and my dad went to the shop one day, and he said, I got this crazy thing I want to talk to you about, and he said, what if we built a pro stock? And I said, well, all right, I'm in. And just wanted another challenge, something a little bit different. We were at a point with the mods where we're gonna have to do a little work to them to get them back to where we wanted to be, and get our competitive edge back. And we just decided to make a transition to another class. And we, like I said, we know we're getting a whole lot better in crash course and learning a lot, the past couple of years about these diesels. But, we went to called Colin, and I said, man, we'd like to build a pro stock, and is there anything out there? And, he started, calling around, trying to find us some chassis. And we ended up, Peter Norton actually had the 1206, and he had that block ordered at Chaos. Well, we ended up talking to Peter and Brad Moss at the time, and ended up purchasing that tractor, put that motor in it, and then off we went. So, no, you know how we are. We're not, typically just to have one. So,
no, sure.
my dad started looking around, and he had made friends with Tony Wortman out of Missouri, and
Sure.
he had that tapped out tractor, and there had been some grumblings that Tony May would sell, but not really. I think Rob Russell may have put us on to him, and he ended up calling Tony. And my dad has a good relationship with Tony, always has from prior years. And Tony said if he's going to sell it to anybody, he want us to have it. So that's the tractor I have now. So we took that one. Took it to Chaos, ended up doing some chassis updates to it, and then kind of making it our own. And it was a 5.0 at the time, so we had to stuff the cooler in there and do all that. So we got to that point, and then now, as everybody can see too, my dad's got 3 kids. He wants all 3 of us to have something to drive. So it's now we've got that 650 for my sister. So we had some struggles with it, but we wish we could have got it off the line. But anyway, that's not her fault. It was more so ours on the stuff we give her to work with. And the first run we had some issues too where she couldn't really get it to go. But Chaos has been great with us. We've jumped right in their program. They've taught us a lot. We work on our own engines, but they're always there for Q&A. The dyno, everything. Between us and Rhett and Rhett and Phillip and Chance. We've kind of all banded together, and somebody's motor goes on the dyno about every winter to try to learn something. And we've tried to pull our weight on trying to, bring some things to the table. So we got some stuff up our sleeve coming for the 2025 season. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's exciting to hear, between your team moving, so successfully and progressively in the direction that you're going with these 3 pro stocks now. Chaos, doing what they did and having the showing that they did, and just the kind of the red resurgence, like we've talked a little bit about today. The Green Boys, they're still, it's not like their time in the sun is gone, but it's adding some interesting color injection into this class, including those V8 Massies. We saw a pair of V8 Massies, do their thing too. So a lot of fun seeing the color. Let's go all the way back. And this is going to be perfect with Wesley Foster's question. Wesley wants to know about classes you've competed in. And that's going to springboard this question I have for you. You said you almost had a love affair with the pro stocks with your early experiences in Freedom Hall. Your dad kind of had the idea and watching them run. Walk us through your different places you've been in the world of pulling, and then even your drag racing career. Did you start with the 2-wheelers and then the mods? And tell us how we ended up where we are today.
So the love for pulling came from my dad. He started garden tractor pulling actually at a young age, and then he bought a Ford 2-wheel drive truck back in the day. And then he ended up moving up and, just kind of kept a 2-wheeler for a long time, and then expanded to 2. And then I think we ended up going to 3 for a while. Never really ran 3, but we did have 3 in the stable. Decided to buy a mini rod. And then that was a real shock to our family. But we've done well with those mini rods, and we've enjoyed them. They're a good ride. They're fun. That's a competitive class. 2-wheel drives just too. Ooh, that one's rough. But then, transitioned. I think we had 2 2-wheelers and a mod for a long time. And then it was do a little something different. We kind of got the mini and then 2 mods. 2 mods is don't do it. Any pull out there who wants to try it, don't do it.
Don't do it. That's a lot of spark. You went from a lot of spark plugs to no spark plugs. So, hey, maybe that's
there's 0 spark plugs in the diesel. Yep. So that's what made it different for us. We don't have a plug reading at all, so trying to figure out how to tune these things, it's been a real interesting thing for us. And we've enjoyed that side of it. But, you run an alcohol engine, you get your spark plug back. It's the first thing you're going to look at, see where I hit my tune up. But with this pro stock, you look at EGTs and how well you did. So it's definitely a different world, but we're learning pretty quickly. But
go ahead, Reese.
If I had to say my favorite class, not just because it's new right there, but I really do like the pro stocks. The 2-wheel drive was fun too. Not all of them are great. When you get in the 2-wheel drive class, and there's, oh my goodness, this all style is kind of like the pro stock class, but that's really a finesse class. You got to really get a hold of it out of the hole, and you got to hit your setup perfect. The mods is if you got some power and they can track and take it, then whoever's got the most is going to get there. But those are fun. You can just feel the sheer power and the chassis work in those things. But they're just a lot of work, and they get really nasty. So that's kind of a pain with those. But mini rods are fun. They're quick ride. The tire deal, it is what it is. Back in the day, you could buy a set of tires, brand new tires run the best. Nowadays, it's just everybody's got the same thing to deal with, but they're just a little different. And finding that difference on how to run them is a little bit tough. But the pro stock is fun. It's a different feel, but I like putting the element of a clutch in it. You definitely have to drive it. You got to feel it. If you don't, then you can get in there. These guys have been driving for a long time. They know what they're doing. And if you don't feel it in your butt, then good luck. Sure. So you'll blow the tires off, or you'll be way late. So you'll get behind it. So it's definitely an awesome class, definitely a driver's class. And I think we just got lucky and paired up with our driving styles in Freedom Hall this past weekend, and I was able to lay it down.
So Nathan Vegg, driver of the Jumpin' Jack Flash Pro Stock diesel pickup truck, he wants to know 10,000-pound Pro Stock compared to a big unlimited mod. Now, you spoke a little bit about feeling it in the seat of your pants, and it's a driver's and a track reader's class. Compare them side by side. Walk us through your experiences and how they feel to you.
No, I mean the mods. The thing about the mods is that most of the time, most places you go, it's not the track place. It's not the fault of the track. It's just a different place you go. But you have so much power that you can't use.
Sure.
With a 10,000 pound pro stock, one nice thing about them is they're 10,000 pounds.
Yeah.
You take something that's 10,000 pounds and trying to get to hook up versus a 78 or 8,000
Yeah.
pound mod. That's a little bit different. So you can one wheel in a mod. I mean, a great ride in a mod's a great ride, but I'll tell you, those are few and far between. It's you end up one wheeling, you end up it's just down through there. So nobody wants to drive. We drive pretty good ways to go to most events, and nobody wants to drive that far for a terrible run. But,
that's a good point. You've got something that's going to hook consistently because of the weight, and if you're there, you might as well get the most out of it. You guys are certainly getting the most out of them right now. What about drag racing? The whole world wants to know about drag racing, and the whole world panicked for a while. They thought, oh my gosh, Shelton's, we're never going to see him again. They're going, to the sticky track. Like, just tell us about what's going on there and how much fun you guys are having and success you're having with that as well.
It's a blast. I'll be just honest with you. I don't get to drive. My dad drives, but I'm the man on the laptop, and we've worked real hard to build ourselves up as just a family. And we've had some great teachers along the way. I definitely have to give a shout out to Lee White. He was my mentor. He still is. Somebody I can call on today, and if I've got an issue with a car or a motor or something's going on, he's a helping hand and some good advice. And that's hard to find in the racing world. But the racing is just you get to go make so many runs in a day, and the people bring us back to pulling, and the challenge of the pro stock classes bring us there, and we're enjoying that. But there's something about when you go to line up. Let's take when we go to Gainesville in a couple of weeks, when you line up beside somebody, and in 5 seconds we're going to find out who the man is. There's something about that, and especially when you do it as a family. There's drag racing is much more commercialized. There's a lot of people making a living in the racing scene. Pulling, not so much. There's a handful, but drag racing is definitely more commercialized. So going out there and going to the dance with guys that are do it for a living, that's how they put food on the table. It changes the game a lot. So it's definitely a fun family affair for sure. We battle the track ourselves, so it's between our crew guys. We've got Paul and Spencer and Hank and Michael Chandler. There's our 4 crew guys, and then Kevin drives on one side, my dad drives on the other. We just all kind of put our minds together, and we rely on each other to pull the rope so that we go up there, we're safe and we're competitive. But thing about racing is that differentiates itself from pulling a little bit is if you miss it in racing, you're not going a foot or 2-3 feet. You're going straight to tire shake. Or you can hurt somebody. In pulling, you can have a terrible run, miss the setup a little bit. You're not going to make a good pull, but like in Freedom Hall, you might still go 200 feet.
Sure.
So that's kind of a game changer, and it can mess with you mentally because you'll fight gremlins. There's a lot of electronics on those things, and you can fight gremlins that you're trying to put your finger on that are ailing you. But it's definitely fun. It's kind of the opposite. We sit around all day and pull and wait to pull at night, and then drag racing. We'll run 3 or 4 times in a day, if we're lucky, and then at nighttime we've got dinner reservations somewhere. So it's just fun. We get to fellowship with each other, and but the same way in pulling, it's just kind of flip flop in reverse.
One thing that you talked about, I really liked. You talked about in drag racing the uniqueness of just saying, hey, we're going side by side, head to head. We're going to find out who the man is right now, who the big dog is. In pulling, it's kind of you and your machine as a team versus the sled or versus the track. But something old school, something interesting happened with your run on Thursday night. We had a pull off. Did that kind of give you some of those similar vibes in drag racing? You said, okay, it's us 3. And of course, it's still you, machine, and track. But did it resonate a little bit like a drag racer thinking, all right, we're in a bit of a shootout here? What was it like going to a pull-off? We don't have any pull-offs anymore.
Pull-offs are awesome, especially in Freedom Hall. I was on the good end of it. Now, there was we were on the big end, and after I put it in the sand, I really didn't want to run again. And I said I wasn't. And, there's nothing wrong with, Brandon Simon says, I'm going again. His stuff was tore up. So he was like, well, he's going to make us run.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. At the moment, I was like, man, what the heck? And,
Sure.
but, they're competitors. They're our friends. And they did nothing that was outside of the rules. He knew his stuff was tore up. So he's like, heck, I'm going to make y'all beat me. So I sat there. I said, well, take me outside. And they took me outside, and it was 20 degrees outside. Those leaf blowers blowing cool air. And, Peter had made that run, and Peter made an awesome run. And that's a tough running tractor. And honestly, at that point, we didn't know if Greg Elson goes out the door, then we're all for like put up or shut up.
Yep.
So, because we're all running for the finals. And, unfortunately, it looked like Greg may have lost his front end a little bit in the videos I saw. But we went outside, and originally the plan was, me and Peter were at the back, and we didn't really want to run because our stuff was really hot. Yep. And Brandon, we obviously knew he was broke, so if it was going to go, it was going to be miraculous. But we thought, he'd go just a little bit, and then we kind of worked it out. I kind of went the furthest, and Peter was going to go a little bit further than Brandon, and I was going to go half track and let out. Well, right before that happened, the man that runs the whole show jumped up on my tractor. And then he said to me, there's 7,000 people in this place want to see a show. Yep. Somebody need to make a run. And I said, yes, sir. So I'm your Huckleberry, and let's go. I hated to do that, but, when the man that, lets me come to the dance told me that, I'm running. I want to come back next year. And at the end of the day, we're in the entertainment business. So it'd have been anticlimactic for us to, do what we were doing. And I was not thinking of the fan at the moment, just my stuff on Saturday night. But that kind of changed my perspective. And unfortunately, Peter wasn't able to make a run. And but like that was honestly by design. But I hate it. I risked put my stuff on the line when I didn't have to. But he had asked me to, and I said, all right, let's ride. So made a run down through there, and I actually backed out there at the end. I didn't want to. I told myself I wasn't going to burn in because that's how when I see a bunch of stuff break. So we want to try to save it to make sure we were there, and made a nice respectable pass. But my oil cap had come off. That's where all the smoke came from, and it's something about it when pull offs and anywhere they get your adrenaline going because it's kind of like a here we go again. We got to make it another time, especially in this diesel class. Those things, they hold heat for the next day at lunchtime. We didn't have to do, it was still warm to the touch when we went outside to warm it up, make sure it still ran. So definitely a culture shock to us. Colin came up there and was, helping us saying, what we needed to do. And because we'd never run twice, that fast because there was, I think, 2 or 3 tractors in between us. It was Fuelish Pleasure and the T8 Tomcat. So it was like 2, and it's like, let's go. And they're all hollering at us, telling us to get back inside. We got to get ready. And shoo, it was fun though. I wouldn't have it any other way. Now, me personally, I love pull-offs. So it's better if they're on Saturday night, especially in there. Like I say, the fans love it. I was unfortunate Smucker. That's not like it's tough in there. It's tough on the committee. It's tough on Vaughn. It's tough on all those guys. You're thinking you're trying to stop people within, a couple of feet because, let's say 250 foot, there's a concrete wall. And that's just very difficult for them to do. So the decisions to make, and we were on the good side of it, where we were in the pull off. Unfortunately for Smucker, he wasn't. That's one of the toughest running tractors in Freedom Hall every year. Oh, yeah. So those guys, they've got it going on anywhere they go. So we know they'll be back for blood next year for sure.
That's it's funny you talk about you took it outside, which is a veteran move. I've seen pullers do that before. Louisville is a place of, and we had bad weather this year. It was cold. So I always say it's a place of, warm it up. Now cool it off. So here, that's kind of the name of the game. So Saturday, this is where it all goes down. This is, why we're all here. Let's take a look at your winning pass on Saturday, and you can just walk us through. And fans out there watching, if you haven't seen it, just yet again, look at the balance on this tractor. This thing was just like pulling on glass, just a beautiful, beautiful run. Let's take a look at it right here. Just another, just right down Broadway, as good as it gets. When you passed that cone, did you feel like, okay, there's a pretty good shot, I've got it, or did you stand over there dodging bullets the whole time?
Well, you're always dodging bullets when you're in that corner. I mean, especially in the finals. I mean, that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
12 of the best that have already made, respectable runs all week. So when it went down through there, it was I knew the toy ran right in front of me. And
Uh-huh.
that is one of the greats in Freedom Hall in the pro stock race.
Absolutely.
That tractor, it knows its way to the sand, and woo, it's tough.
Mhm.
But to put 13 feet on him, I was everyone wants to stick her chest out a little bit. But honestly, I learned a lot from them right before they ran, or like before I ran when I watched them run. And honestly, they're probably the reason that I made the run I did. I watched how they came off the line, and kind of made adjustments to what I was going to do, and it ended up working out. The track was honestly a little bit better on out there a little ways. The starting line was a little trickier, but on out there about mid track, it was a little bit better, I believe. And we'd made some weight adjustments prior to. And when it hooked, I said, "Oh boy, here we go!" And I passed that leader cone. She kept lugging, and you can hear it when it laid down. It hurt it. It's hurt, so we got to take it apart and look at it. I know the back of the turbo is all chewed up. I had stuff tinging in the pipe, but we'll get it fixed up and go again. But when you sit in that corner, that's tough. Peter. I mean, Peter right behind me. Me and him were joking all weekend because we ran 11th and 12th, and then 4th and 5th in our sessions. And we were like, we're just both of us is going to lay it out there. And I mean, he got really, really close. I mean, that thing picked his front end up beautifully and made a nice run. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. They're going to lay it down through there. And you look at, Peter's teammates, Rob. You look at the Tinker Toys teammates, the River Rats. So we didn't necessarily have that. Rhett Parrish is a teammate of ours. We tried to, relay our information as to what we did and how we, kind of adapted to that night to them. Unfortunately, it just didn't run for them. But it's sitting in that corner, there's no slouches. And then when we always like to gamble. And when I saw Kevin Madison put that thing on the right-hand sideline, I said, oh boy, here we go. And he laid it down through there and was short. And I knew I had something then, but I'll be honest with you, Tim Kaine, that thing is run like a scalded dog. They've got their program on point. Every time they come out, it seems like that thing's weighted just perfect. And it doesn't really set the front end down till the other end. So their program is very, very stout. And you can't count out Carlton. So any of those guys that are coming at you, the Simons, all of it. I mean, it's like, how do you pick and choose to say, I'm not worried about them? The heck we aren't. We're worried about every one of them. And it was just a blessing to dodge some of those bullets for sure. And I know we were standing out there in the corner, and I went over to Tim Kaine, and I had no idea. Like I said, we don't get. This is the first time we've ever really experienced any of the red-green battle, and we went over to Tim Kaine, just congratulated him, because he was right on me. I mean, I'm talking like woo, and man, I gave him a hug. We gave a hug, and he said he was hollering, saying that's the first time there's 2 red tractors out front in there, and that's the first time since 2009. And I was like, wow. And it was going to be that way regardless, because if Carlton laid it on us, then it was going to be 3 red ones up there. So,
Yep.
It was,
regardless of flavor, it was going to be 3 red ones.
Right.
No matter what. Yeah. First time since 2009 that a red one has won the finals. I think Rhett Parrish did pick up a win in a session somewhere in there. It'd be interesting to know, when was the last time you had a pair of 1066s finish first and second? First time Tim Kaine's been in the winner's circle, I think, since like 2001 or something like that. So a lot of fun narratives. What a great weekend. Reese, I appreciate you so much coming on this show. We've had a lot of people viewing, a lot of people watching. Last question, or one of our last questions right here, and then I know I'll let you get going. It's later where you are. Wants to know, would you rather win at Freedom Hall or the Pullers Championship, which we're going to be releasing the competitors list for the Pullers Championship in our very next section of this show? Probably grab a win at both, right?
Well, I'd love to win it anywhere. Anytime we go, we want to win. But the heritage that comes out at Freedom Hall, that's not replicated anywhere else in the world.
Sure.
When it comes, I mean, you've got guys in there that are wearing John Deere cowboy hats with pins on them that date back to, good Lord, I don't know when. You've got guys that sit in the same seats wearing orange jumpsuits
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got people, they really get into it. Nowhere else in the world does it they really get into it like that. And you're kind of surrounded. So when you can win in Freedom Hall, uh, I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a bigger stage to win in the pro stock class out there.
Maybe not in the world of pulling, in all honesty. This is one you'll keep with you. I can just tell by talking to you
Yep.
for as long as we're out there. Chandler Pickler wants to know what are we going to name this 650?
We're still working on that one, so we're trying to come up. Well, we've got a couple names in the hat, but we hadn't really nailed one down yet. So we're still working on it. Hopefully, we'll have one before Farley. So that'll be a big one to win too.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
If you win in a pro, if you win in any class in pulling, especially on the pro level, the cool thing about the farm show is go to two-wheel drives and they pull champions from all the series. The same way with most of them. That's just they have a bunch of. There's so many sessions for pro stocks that allow it to for more people to get in. But most of your other classes, they're pulling champions and maybe 1, 2, and 3 from these series, and that's it. So it's definitely cutthroat. If you can do well there, then that's something to hang your hat on.
Who do you need to thank, and what shout outs do you have? I'm sure there's a lot of people, and I almost hate asking pullers this question because they always say, well, I'll forget someone, but I just know that you have a lot of great people behind you. So I'm just going to give you the floor and give any shout outs that you want to give.
Definitely my mom and dad. Like I said, that's without them, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing, and they gave us a platform to go and compete. We've always been competitors growing up in sports and everything, but that time has passed for us. But now we have something else to compete in. But we do it as a family. So without them, nothing would be possible. My grandfather too. He's a key player in all this. And I got to thank the boys at Chaos. It's all of them. It's all the guys in the shop. Aiden, Colin, Kevin, the list is long. Those boys in there, they work hard for us. Like I said, the parishes, they're great friends of ours, kind of took us under our wing and helped us out. We kind of help each other when we go places. When we got into the pro stock class, I mean, that's like I said, we spoke to Brad Moss. We spoke a lot to Kevin Masterson, and Kevin is a great friend of ours. He is, a fierce competitor as well. Got to thank for the win. Definitely had to thank Mike Witt and the fair board and the pulling committee. Without them, we wouldn't even had the stage to be there. So Farm Credit Mid America again. If without a sponsor, that's not happening for us. Got to thank the guys in the shop and my crew. You guys are Spencer and Kale and Hayden. They work hard on these things, and they go from blown alcohol mechanics to diesel mechanics and work on everything else in between. So they do a good job for us, and we're tickled with them. My brother and my sister, my brother, that's my biggest fan this weekend. So we were on the ride over to Freedom Hall, and he said, Reese, he said, we ain't never pulled on a bigger stage than this. He said, let's go get them. I said, don't worry, we're going to. So my sister's always there to support. My wife, she wasn't able to make it this weekend, but she wanted to be there. I think she had a big case of FOMO. She really wanted to be there. And then that's all the guys that were there with us. I got Jason, Jared, Melanie, Hannah, Spencer was there, Hank, Cody, and John, and Clayton. It was a big team affair, especially without having my dad there this weekend. He's kind of the glue. He normally does everything for us so that we can we can go and take a look at the track, take a look at driving styles, take a look at how things are going. But me and my brother kind of had to absorb those roles this weekend and kind of roll with the punches, as long as Spencer, and he helped us as well. But the list is long of the people that help us get there. The good Lord as well. I mentioned him in my interviews, and it's a blessing to be able to do what we do, and we have a lot of fun. And if we didn't have fun, we wouldn't do it. So thanks to all of them.
Perfect. Well said, folks. This has been a great interview. Reese, we really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us. Reese Shelton, your 2025 National Farm Machinery Show Championship Saturday night, 10,200-pound pro stock driver on the 1066, taking one back for the red team. First time since 2009. Calls it cutting down. He won Thursday. He won Saturday. And I feel like you're going to be gunning for him all season long, Reese. So best of luck thanks for being on here. And, next year, Grayson and Camille, we'll get them all in that winner's circle. So
that'd
thank
be
you so
awesome.
much for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Michael.
Yep. Thank you.